The voting time has arrived. Players in the region were summoned to the starting point. The 4 injured men who fought against BackOnce have been transported back to the starting point. Their injured state shocked the other players. Then Aaron, together with Sangcheol and other players, also arrived. They were confused about what they saw upon their arrival. Several player corpses scattered on the ground. They asked what had happened. Aaron speculated that the guy standing, covered in blood, was the perpetrator. Ryumin observed that it seemed like Cho Jung-sik gained the upper hand again. Cho Jung-sik is the boss of the Jung-sik gang, and he is the second most talented fighter in the district. It's too bad that his personality is complete trash. Jung-sik looked at him with an eerie expression, especially with all those bloodstains on his face and body. Ryumin decided it was better to neutralize a ticking time bomb before it could go off. He stared back at him and decided that moment wasn't the right time yet. Jung-sik slowly approached him and asked where he had been since he was waiting for him. Aaron and Sangcheol turned to look at BackOnce. BackOnce calmly asked Jung-sik what he wanted from him. Jung-sik answered that as a suggestion. Jung-sik, with a smug look on his face, straightforwardly told BackOnce to be his servant. BackOnce answered, "Serve you?" Jung-sik spun his dagger as he answered that he would spare BackOnce's life if he complied. He was caught off guard when he heard a laughter as a response. BackOnce asked him if he wanted to start fighting now. BackOnce smiled at him and told him to kneel, that he should get on his knees and beg, and that's the only way he will let him go unharmed. This prompted Jung-sik to label BackOnce as a crazy bastard. He accused him of not comprehending the gravity of the situation. Jung-sik continued talking, but he was cut off mid-sentence when BackOnce asked if he had difficulty comprehending what had just been said. BackOnce drew out his weapon and asked if he might find it more satisfying to just die there. Jung-sik was caught off guard with BackOnce's weapon. He internally panicked and wondered where he got the weapon. He started regretting messing with him. BackOnce, as if taunting him, asked what's wrong with him. He followed it up by saying, "Cat's got your tongue?" Jung-sik grit his teeth. Then he boastfully introduced himself as Jung-sik, the boss of the Jung-sik gang. He asked BackOnce if he thought he would kneel to just anyone. In the height of his emotion, he carelessly swung his emotion and taunted BackOnce to attack using his fancy weapon. BackOnce scoffed in response. He observed that Jung-sik was short-tempered as usual. He decided to stop mocking him, since it would get complicated when he showed his strength and earned the votes of the players. His plan is to make Jung-sik the representative so that he can use him in the 3rd round. Plus, the angel is about to show up anytime soon. As if on cue, the angel appeared and confirmed if all the humans had gathered. Jung-sik got distracted. BackOnce told him that he was lucky. As BackOnce was about to walk away, he gave advice to Cho Jung-sik to make sure who is challenging next time if he doesn't want to die early. Jung-sik stood there as if he was frozen. He was seething with anger. At the same time, he also felt relieved. He was acting tough, but deep inside he thought he would have a heart attack. He let BackOnce go now, but he vowed that BackOnce will see his powers later. If he becomes the representative, he'll avenge himself for the humiliation. The angel asked the humans if they had decided on their representatives. The angel noticed the corpses and commented that they did more than just discussion in the 3 hours that they had. And she reiterated that it's not her business if the trash humans die or not. And then she asked them if they should proceed with the scheduled voting. Each player had a screen opened in front of them. With that, the vote for the region representative has commenced. Each player may cast 1 vote, and the player with the most votes will be the region representative. They just need to look at the person that they want to vote for, and players who fail to vote within the 5-minute limit will be eliminated from the round and perish. The timer for the voting had started. One player repeated the instruction, "Look at who I want to vote for." As they looked at their surroundings, their eyes landed on a certain person. Most players were staring at Jung-sik, who had a smug look on his face as he felt confident that everyone was looking at him, and all of a sudden, he became surprised. He pointed at a woman and called her chubby, cheek-steamed bun. The woman was surprised and confused. He's getting mad at her for not looking at him. He threatened to kill her. The woman defensively told him that she voted for him. Jung-sik inspected his surroundings while yelling threats to the people. He observed each movement and yelled to look for someone who turned their heads away. The voting duration had come to an end. The angel announced that the time is up. and she told them that none of them were dumb enough to try to pee the voting. She clapped her hands as she invited them to tally the votes. A large screen appeared with the results of the voting. In fifth place is Cute Baby Bird with 5 votes, followed by Chubby Cheek Steamed Bun with 6 votes. On the third is Black Dragon in my right with 249 votes, followed by Black Scythe with 2,077 votes. And the first place is Life is a Documentary with 2,412 votes. Jung-sik landed in first place, but he wasn't happy with the number of votes that he had. On top of that, Black Scythe were ranked as second place. He looked at some players with a furious expression, and those players tried to avoid meeting his eyes. He's mad that they didn't vote for him and chose Black Scythe instead. The angel concluded the voting and announced Life is a Documentary as the region representative. That being the case, the angel gave him authority of command so he can order people around. A window screen displayed that he has become the region representative and he earned the authority of command. This placed a wide smile on Cho Jing-suk's bloody face. He planned to make Black Scythe regret not killing him by commanding everyone to team up to kill Black Scythe. He noticed something on the screen. It showed that the authority of command showed that he can issue commands to players and forcefully control them. Applicable players may not disobey the command under any circumstances. He can only use the skill 10 times. He can only command 1 player at a time. And the skill does not work with players with a class. He seemed to be disappointed with the conditions, particularly on the fact that players with a class can ignore his commands. The angel asked the humans if they thought that they're done after voting. But that's not the case since there's a hidden quest on that round. The players couldn't understand what the angel meant. The second round is a sub-quest. A window screen displayed that they should get an advancement item and a class, and they will receive a 50% discount voucher for today's item if they succeed. Sangcheol and Aaron seemed confused on what advancement item is or class. The angel informed them that the quest window was set to pop up like that at level 10. A player asked how they are supposed to level up when there are no monsters. The angel had a grim expression as she answered them that the forest is full of monsters. The angel told them not to feel bad since there are only 80,000 people in all regions who were able to advance to a class this round. And she also announced that someone in their region had received a class advancement. The players wondered who it was. The angel hyped them even more when she asked if they should look at the result of the sub-quest to find out. A large screen displayed the results of the second round sub-quest. It shows all regions, and the number 1 is Black Scythe, level 16 Reaper, followed by Heavenly Demon, level 10 Dark Knight, and the third place is Stupid Idiots, a level 10 Shaman. And in their region, only Black Scythe had a class. There was a hint of fear from the players when they found out that Black Scythe was the first to advance, and that he's the only one in their region, and on top of that, his class is a Reaper. They stared at him while they gossiped about his class. And one player figured out that maybe it's why he was carrying a scythe earlier. Jung-sik is infuriated to lose the chance to command Black Scythe since he already has a class. He thought how unexpected the timing was. The angel announced that in round 2, ranks have been awarded in the order of who completed the sub-quest the fastest. She looked at the board to announce that the one who changed class in their region Black Scythe. And not only that, but he's also the first place in all regions. She was impressed by this. She even commented on how his class is unique, and his nickname even matched with it. She interrogated him on how he was able to come up with such a nickname. She went to probe further, asking him if he had gained the Reaper class before. Ryuman answered casually that he didn't know he'd get a class that would fit his nickname. The angel suggested the idea that becoming a Reaper must be fate. Ryuman answered, yes. At the back of his mind, he had observed that the angels don't know how the Reaper class is obtained. They only know that it's a unique class. The angel asked if that's what fate is, and she expressed how interesting it was. She continued that it was unexpected that there would only be one person in the region who had switched classes, and she clarified that he's the only one who won't be affected by authority command. The players asked her what she meant when she said Black Scythe won't be affected by the authority command. The angel wondered if she'll continue explaining everything. She proceeded to tell them that the authority of command doesn't apply to humans with a class. Therefore, the region representative cannot command Black Scythe to do as he wished. Also, there are only 10 chances to use the authority of command. So just because one is appointed as a region representative, it does to mean that he has indefinite power. The players understood her explanation, but the explanation infuriated Cho Jung-sik. He didn't want others to know about the conditions of the authority. And then the angel asked if they should reward Black Scythe, who obtained his class the quickest. She snapped her fingers. 2 window screens appeared. The first one displayed a message congratulating him for completing the quest as rank 1 in the region, and the second one is a congratulatory message for ranking first in all regions. Ryuman touched the screen to claim his rewards. For being the first in the region, he received a low-rank rare armor, and for being the first in all regions, he received a special award. He is prompted to choose one among the list of rare armor pieces. There is a medieval knight's armor, an expert hunter's leather armor, and a well-ventilated mage's robe. He already knew what to choose. The first choice was too heavy, and the third one is almost useless when it comes to defense, so he picked the second option, which is the expert hunter's leather armor. And then he is tasked to choose one from the list of special rewards. The options are 3 experience buffs that are maintained for round 3, 3,000 gold, and information on the third round. He based his decision in the knowledge that there will be a lot of monsters in the third round. So, the obvious choice is the 3 times exp buff. The angel announced that the rewards had been distributed. Ryuman's body glowed in gold, and the other players too. The angel announced that everyone can return home. And before they teleport, the angel informs them that the third round is going to be really fun. And with a sinister smile, she told them, "I guarantee it." A large screen showed the outcome of round 2. In all regions, there are only 873,500,205 survivors, and in the current region, ESKS 45-5, there are 4,998 survivors. There are other announcements such as, the soul will be transferred to the body in the existing dimension, and on March 1st, 2023, the next round will begin. The message ended with congratulating the players for surviving. The last notification showed that the soul will soon be transferred to the body in the existing dimension, and instantly, a hand suddenly jerked. It was Yongmin who suddenly rose up from his bed screaming. He looked at his hand and was shocked to see that it was still intact. He felt relieved that his arm was still attached. He had expected that as long as he didn't die, he would return with a normal body. And then his expression changed to despair. He vowed never to mess with Black Scythe again, or even getting involved in any way with him. Sangcheol commended Aaron for his hard work. Aaron countered that she did nothing, and it was him who actually worked hard. She faced him with a bright smile on her face and thanked him. Sangcheol seemed to be uncomfortable as he cleared his throat, looked away, and adjusted his tie. He answered that it's something that's expected of him as her manager and bodyguard. Aaron told him that she wants to thank Black Scythe again and asked him if there's a way to do that. He explained that since they don't know his real appearance, they don't have any means to find him. He also observed that Black Scythe wanted to hide his real identity. Aaron confirmed that he really doesn't want his identity to be revealed. Sangcheol explained that he found out about it when he asked for his account number to compensate him, but judging by the way he immediately refused. Black Scythe knew that his real identity could be tracked through the account number. Aaron understood, but she's not happy about it. Sangcheol suggested that if she really wants to show gratitude, she should find him in the next round and give him an item. The suggestion made Aaron perk up. Aaron expressed that it was a good idea. She started thinking on how to compensate him well. Their conversation ended with Sangcheol telling her to rest, and they'll see each other in the morning. She told him to take care. Sangcheol was about to ride the elevator when his phone buzzed. He went inside the elevator and answered the call from President Ma. Sangcheol noticed that the president hasn't gone to sleep yet. President Ma admitted that he was drinking whiskey as soon as he got back. Sangcheol congratulated him for switching his class to Dark Knight. President Ma asked about the happenings in their region. Sangcheol reported that he and Aaron were only able to reach level 8. Midway through, due to them being injured, they were unable to hunt. President Ma answered, "Injured?" Sangcheol arrived at the parking lot and admitted that he was about to report back about the incident, and he asked if it's a good time to talk about it. He mentioned that it's related to Black Scythe. President Ma told him to come to the hotel as he prefers to hear it in person. Sangcheol told him that he will be there in 20 minutes. Sang Cheol rode his car without noticing that a man was spying on him. The man watched his car leave the parking lot. The man spying on him was Ryuman. Ryuman wondered if Sang Cheol was on his way to mangaA-Z. 10 minutes ago, Wani was sleeping while sitting on the bed and Ryuman was looking at his stat window. The screen showed that he has to think of the target he'd like to track. He pictured Sang Cheol and announced his name. The window screen displayed that the name and face have been matched, and the tracking of the target's location has commenced. And then, the window showed that the target's location had been found, and he's 9 meters away. Ryuman noticed that he's quite close and wondered if he's in the penthouse. All of a sudden, the location became 23 meters away, then it changed to 56 meters away. He noticed the change in the location, and judging by how it's changing rapidly, he concluded that Sang Cheol must have taken the elevator. He wondered where he's going so early in the morning, and he entertained the possibility that perhaps it could be towards mangaA-Z's location. He immediately wore his jacket and headed straight into the door to confirm his assumption. He appreciated how it was a good thing that he decided to track him as soon as he returned. The full moon is covered with clouds. It blocks the moonlight from shining. mangaA-Z was appreciating the sky as he thought that it's the perfect night to chase after someone. He decided to endure it for now since he needs to listen to the report first. He thought of BackOnce and wondered what kind of player wouldn't know him when he's someone who achieved rank 1 in both the first and second rounds. He taps his finger on the arm of the couch as he felt uncomfortable with the news related to the rank 1. He started formulating assumptions such as BackOnce initiating a fight with his subordinate. If that's the case, he knew he wouldn't sit idly since messing with his right-hand man is the same as challenging him. He wore a serious expression on his face as he contemplated not letting anyone block his way, even if that person happened to be the rank 1. He sensed something in the area. His right-hand man is standing outside the door. Sang Cheol knocked and asked if he's inside. He told him to come in. He stood up and they greeted each other. Sang Cheol told him that they can still see each other, all because of President Ma. President Ma told him that he didn't even do a thing, and they weren't even in the same region. Sang Cheol bowed to him to express his gratitude as he felt motivated just because of the existence of President Ma. President Ma commented on how good he is with his flattery. Sang Cheol confidently answered that it's not flattery but the truth, and he congratulated him for his survival. President Ma commented that round 2 was like taking a candy from a baby. Sang Cheol congratulated him again on his class advancement. He revealed that he was just lucky, but Sang Cheol proceeded to say that luck is also a skill, and he highlighted that being the second and the third is not easy. He added that there is no greater honor to him than being able to serve someone like President Ma. President Ma placed his glass on the table and remarked to Sang Cheol that he must need something from him, judging by the way he was buttering him up. So he asked Sang Cheol if what he senses is right, that he wants something. Sang Cheol got nervous and asked how he obtained an advancement item. President Ma told him that it's nothing. The item just dropped when he was hunting the monsters. He concealed the fact that it's thanks to his Dark Knight run that he received as his random rune fragment. During that time, the angel told them to look at their inventory to see the present that she prepared. Upon checking his inventory, he saw that he received the Dark Knight rune, which raises all stats and envelops the weapon with a dark aura that damages the enemies. It can automatically advance to Dark Knight unique class when he hits level 10. He still seemed confused about it, but he took note of the important details. He realized that he was lucky during the first round for being granted a cheat-level item as his random rune. However, even to a subordinate that he values like a family, he can't reveal important information, since he knew that a person can always change at a moment's notice because that's the nature of human beings. President Ma changed the topic and directly asked who it was that hurt him. With a serious expression, he asked if it was BackOnce. Sang Cheol seemed to be surprised by his assumption and immediately corrected him. He told him the fact that BackOnce was the one who saved his life. President Ma asked him to tell the details. President Ma asked him to confirm if he almost died because of the thugs that were after the actress. Sang Cheol answered that if BackOnce hadn't shown up, they could have lost their lives. He told him that Aren might have survived, but she has suffered psychological damage that would prevent her from continuing her work in the entertainment industry. President Ma seemed to be thinking deeply. Not only did he almost lose his precious subordinate, but his business was almost foiled as well. President Ma asked what happened to those thugs and assumed that they had been killed. Sang-cheol explained that though Black Scythe gave them pain on the level of death, he did not in fact kill them. President Ma inquired about the reason, and Sang-cheol quoted Black Scythe saying, "There is no benefit in killing them." The rationale was that decreasing the total population also reduces the surviving population. President Ma agreed that it's not wrong, but he's concerned about what those thugs will do in the future. As he took a sip of his whiskey, he reflected that it was thanks to Black Scythe that his subordinate and possessions remained intact. He acknowledged that he owed him a debt. He expressed that he should compensate Black Scythe. Sang-cheol explained that he did bring up that topic, but Black Scythe told him that it wasn't necessary, and then immediately left. President Ma was a bit surprised to hear that the compensation was denied. He assumed that it could be because Black Scythe is afraid of having his identity exposed. He labeled him as a cautious man. It seemed that their conversation had reached its end as both men stood up. President Ma instructed Sang-cheol that if he met Black Scythe in the next round, he should extend his gratitude to him. He's sincerely grateful to the person who saved both Sang-cheol and Aaron. Sang-cheol assured him that he will relay it. In addition to that, President Ma instructed Sang-cheol to keep tabs on Black Scythe to see if there's any way that they can help him. This is because President Ma isn't the type to leave unpaid debts. Sang-cheol answered, "As you wish, sir." Before President Ma leaves, he actually remembered to ask something important. With an intimidating eye, he asked for the nicknames of those thugs. Meanwhile, outside the hotel, Ryumin hid behind a tree. He surveyed the area while thinking how Sang-cheol is such a loyal dog. He went straight to Gyeonrock as soon as he made it back to reality, even if it's late at night. Since he had already confirmed the location, he decided to go back. He knew that he'd only draw suspicion if he hung around. He hailed a cab. In his mind, he appreciated the coincidence that a celebrity sponsored by Gyeonrock is Lee in the same apartment as him. He took a mental note to thank his little brother. Had they not handed out rice cakes, they would have never run into Aaron, and he would have never learned that Sang-cheol and Aaron are connected. He was about to open the door of the cab when he thought that if he properly leverages their connection as neighbors, it will help in earning Gyeonrock's trust. Though he still needs to evaluate if he should bring Gyeonrock on the 20th round or not. He knew how good Gyeonrock's Dark Knight rune was. It's good that it can be called a cheat. However, there are downsides such as no advancement rune and being forced to advance into a night. But the biggest downside is that in order to use Dark Aura, a power of Dark Knight, they need to charge up an exclusive mana called Dark Mana. And this Dark Mana cannot be acquired through ordinary means. In a way, it's an ability fit for someone with a psychopathic hobby like Gyeonrock. Ryumin thought that it would be dangerous to have a psychopath as a comrade, so he decided that for now he'll keep him as a candidate and use him however he can. He noted that there are also other talented individuals. He pictured a girl with green power. He arrived at his apartment and decided to start working once the sun rose. Later that day at a convenience store, the man at the counter seemed to be lost on what he needed to do. He's worried that the revenue is going to plummet in half. All of a sudden, his daughter showed up in the door. He greeted his daughter named Julie. She asked her dad why he was sighing so loud. He explained that the lottery ticket sales have been fully suspended. Julie asked him for the reason that it happened abruptly. He explained that the government has made a reasonable excuse, but apparently they say it's because of the players. The government took into consideration that they know nothing about the abilities of the players. Julie recalled that there was news about a man who won the lottery 4 consecutive times. Her dad expressed that things are already difficult because of rent, labor cost, and he wondered what he should do. Julie assured him not to worry, because she will graduate soon and she will help out. She wondered if it would be better to get a part-time job and add the income to their household. Her dad answered that he will think about the money and she should just focus on her studies. He praised her good grades and inquired if she has no plans to go to college since her dream is to become a doctor. She admitted to her dad that she gave up that dream. She told him that school does not matter in the current situation. Her dad became sullen and agreed to her. He expressed that money isn't the main problem since if things go poorly, Julie could die in the next round. He apologized to her daughter and explained that he was all over the place lately. Julie held her dad's hand and told him that he doesn't need to apologize since none of it was his fault. She smiled at him and assured him that she's okay. She happily told him that she survived round 2 and even got a class. To explain that to him, she extended her hand and placed it in front of her dad's forehead, and green light with circular patterns appeared. Her dad's body glowed in green. Her dad was shocked and asked what she just did. She explained that it's a skill called Bless that she got from obtaining a class called Buffer. It slightly increases stats. They say that it has a reinvigorating effect on people. Her dad seemed pleased and praised her ability. He confirmed that his body, in fact, felt energized. She happily told him that she'll regularly cast the skill on him. She encouraged her dad to cheer up, and her dad smiled brightly. The door of the convenience store opened. The man on the counter seemed to recognize Ryuman, who just entered the convenience store. Julie whispered to her dad to ask if he knew the man who just entered. Her dad told him that he's the winner. He elaborated that he was talking about the first-place winner who guessed the same number on 100 tickets. Ryuman greeted the man on the counter and asked if he remembers him. He added that he is the guy who bought 101 worth of lottery tickets. The man admitted that he remembers him, and then asked what he was there for. Ryuman's next move caught the man by surprise. Ryuman apologized, and the man asked what's going on all of a sudden. He explained that he saw the news, and that because he won first place consecutively, the selling of Natto lottery tickets has been discontinued. He sincerely apologized for unintentionally causing damage to the store. Julie watched the whole scene. The man told him that it's not his fault, and it's not like they will starve to death by not being able to sell lottery tickets anymore. Ryuman rummages in his bag while saying that it doesn't sit right with him since it feels like they have been affected because of him, and that is why he would like to give them compensation, even if it's just a small amount. The man at the counter asked what was on the envelope. Ryuman replied that it's 10 million won, which shocked both the father and daughter. The man refused to accept the money. Ryuman insisted for them to take it. Ryuman immediately left. The man seemed burdened with the money. Julie offered to run and return it. The man gave her the envelope. Julie had caught up with Ryuman. She yelled for him to stop. Ryuman turned to look at her. Julie seemed to know his name, so he asked who she could be. Julie told him that they were in the same class. But Ryuman seems to be confused with this information. Julie asked him if he's saying that he doesn't even know that they were in the same class together. Ryuman apologized and told her that he's not good with faces, though of course he's lying. He knew about Julie. She's in the same class as him and the daughter of the convenience store owner. She also has the unique class buffer. He learned for the first time that she was in the same class as him back then, and he was really surprised that fate existed. The reason why he met Julie for the first time under the pretense of it being coincidence is to bring her to his side. Julie invited him to go somewhere to talk. Ryuman accepted the offer. They sat on a bench in a park under the bright, clear blue sky. Julie gave him the envelope. He asked if that's the money that he just gave. Julie told him that they can't accept that much amount, so she insisted for him to take it back. Ryuman knew that 10 million won is an amount that can be quite burdensome. He intentionally gives knowing that they wouldn't take it, since no matter how difficult her circumstances are, she's the type of person who can't live with debt. She's still holding the envelope, so she urged him to take it since her arm is starting to hurt. Ryuman declined and explained that as he told the owner earlier, that is the money he has because he felt sorry for causing damage. It's the least that he can do for his conscience. Julie told him that the amount is too large. Ryuman countered that no matter how large the amount is, he would still want them to take it. Otherwise, he would feel bad and would keep thinking about it. Julie insisted that it's still too much and burdensome. In his mind, Ryuman thought that it's exactly the reason why he's giving it to her. He asked Julie to send a message to the owner. That's not that much money to him, so they should take it without feeling burdened. Julie asked him if he was always this stubborn. Ryuman stood up and bid goodbye, but Julie told him to wait. She told him that 10 million won is too much, so she'll just accept 1 million won. He asked her if she's allowed to decide on that. He suggested that she should ask the owner of the convenience store. Julie told him that her dad will definitely feel uncomfortable with that amount of money. Ryuman said that it's his first time knowing that her dad is the convenience store owner. He told her that he goes to the convenience store often. He finds the coincidence fascinating. Julie admitted that it's fascinating for her as well, especially the fact that the first Nato winner is a friend from her class. The word friend seemed to have struck Ryuman. Julie asked him if he really did not know that she was in his class. She told him that she knew him as soon as he walked into the convenience store. Ryuman apologized and explained that he's not really good with faces, and Ryuman added that it was the first time they had talked. Julie looked sullen because of him learning her name for the first time. Ryuman apologized. Julie blushed and remained silent. Ryuman felt bad for pretending not to know her, but he has to do it so that she would be interested in him. Julie stood up and reiterated that her name is Min Julie, and she's in the same class as him. She stood really close to him and told him that's her face. She asked him if he would remember it. Ryuman smiled at her and said yes. This made Julie silent as her face became red. Suddenly, reality hits her. Funnily, she's introducing herself to a classmate when graduation is just around the corner. Ryuman answered that at least he already knows, and told her that it's not like they will lose all communication after graduation. And with that, Ryuman asked for her number. Julie was surprised. Ryuman asked if there's something wrong with asking for her number. He expressed that he doesn't think that there's anything weird about asking a classmate for their number. Julie agreed, and she asked for his phone so she could type in her number. She blushed while doing it, and then she handed back the phone. Ryuman told her that it's fate that they met that way, so they should contact each other from then on. Julie stuttered in saying yes. Ryuman informed her that he'll get going because there's something urgent that he needs to do. When he's in a distance from her, Julie remembered that she's still holding the envelope, so she yelled for him to wait, but Ryuman just waved goodbye at her. In the end, she wasn't able to return the envelope. Her face turned red and she clutched her chest when she thought about how he asked for her number. Her heart keeps pounding. She knew that he asked her as a friend, but she couldn't help her reaction since she likes him. She recalled the first time they encountered each other. They met by chance. She saw him being bullied, and she called the police to report it. She did not know if she had done it out of pity, or because as the one who reported the incident, she felt responsible to see it through till the end. So she followed him to make sure he made it back home safely. But when she saw Ryuman, working at his part-time job as if nothing happened, he learned that he's a stronger person than he seemed to be. And that was the start of her taking an interest in him. However, he didn't have the courage to speak to him. After that, she recognized that her feelings for him grew so much that she couldn't even approach him. So, she never would have expected that they would encounter each other again. She decided that she will be brave now. She sees it as a rare chance given to her by the heavens. She can no longer pretend not to know him after receiving the 10 million won. She smiled brightly while wondering if she should invite him to go eat somewhere. Ryuman is on his bed while texting. He's chatting with Julie, who invited him for lunch. He told her he's available and he'll pay for the food. But Julie insisted on paying. He was expecting that she would think that she owes him something and not that she immediately offered to buy him lunch. That's a good sign. It will be easier for him to make her his ally if he naturally becomes friendly with her. He decided to save Julie and take her to the 20th round. Wani is sitting on the couch when he leaves his room. Wani asked him where he's going, and he told her that he's going to meet a friend. Wani asked if the girl is a friend. He asked him if he can't meet with girls. Ryuman told his brother that he's going to eat lunch outside. Wani seemed to be dumbfounded and realized that maybe his brother is going out on a date. Ryuman and Julie met up at a steakhouse. Ryuman asked her if she likes steak. She answered yes, and Ryuman encouraged her to eat a lot. She couldn't help but blush. She never thought she'd eat alone with him, and so she thinks it's one of her best days. They continued eating in silence. Julie felt that the atmosphere was getting awkward, so she felt pressure to say something. She asked him how he won the Nato lottery 4 times in a row. He told her that he just got lucky when he saw it in his dream. She couldn't believe it. Then she probed on how much money he earned because of the dream. Ryuman casually answered that he won't have to worry about money for the rest of his life, though he admitted that what he needs to worry about is his life. Julie then asked him about his experience on the first round. She asked him if killing goblins was difficult for him. He answered that it took him ages. She asked for the region that he was in. He told her that he couldn't remember that much, but he knew that the final number was 5. Julie told him that hers ends at 7. She expressed that it was such a shame that they won't be able to meet in the other world. Ryuman, in his mind, thought that she doesn't need to be disappointed since they will definitely meet. The regions integrated with each other after the survivors decreased in number. She asked for his level. He told her that he's at level 10. She expressed that she's on the same level. She asked for his class, and he told her that he doesn't have a class yet. She told him that she was lucky enough to get a class change item. Her class is called Buffer. Ryuman pretended not to know about it. He asked if it's something like giving buffs in-game. In his mind, he's thankful that she's a buffer again. She excitedly asked him if he wanted to see it. She explained that the buff is called Bless that increases every stat. He told her that he'd like to see it. She extended her hand and a green pattern appeared in front of it. Notification window showed that Bless has raised all his stats by 50% and the duration of the Bless is for 3 hours. He showed that he's amazed by the skill. In his mind, he expected that from a unique skill, since the effects are quite good. He had observed that the skill's effectiveness will double when she reaches max level, so it will increase by 100%. Well, that's for when she reaches the max level. Still, he felt relieved to receive the buff, especially because he wanted to meet with her for that reason. Ryuman recalled that the reward he received from the first-class change, subquest, was a random gold pouch. As the name suggests, it's a pouch that gives a random amount of gold, and it's affected by luck stat. Therefore, he'll be able to receive more gold with a higher luck stat. He told her that the effects are good, and he thanked her. She happily answered that he just needs to tell her if he needs buff. She assured him that casting it doesn't take any effort on her part. He asked her about what she wanted to tell him. She remembered about it. And then she proceeded to thank him for the 10 million won, and that her dad wants to extend his gratitude as well. She told him that he will pay her no matter what. He asked if that's what she really wants to say. He reminded her that she doesn't need to worry about it. She told him that since he doesn't have money, it could be something else. And she remembered something. She brought out a glowing item, and he asked her what it was. She narrated that she got it while hunting, and if he won't accept money, then at least he would accept the item. She encouraged him to take it by saying that she's being sincere, so he shouldn't think about rejecting it. They finished lunch. She told him that it was great, and they should see each other again. He agreed and told her to stay safe in the next round. She happily agreed that they both should stay alive and see each other. Ryuman was alone in the park. He pulled out his inventory screen. He looked at the item that Julie gave him. It was a low-grade purple magic crystal. It's a beautiful purple stone with subtle mana. He didn't expect to receive such a gift from her. He took it out of the inventory. He doesn't have any idea on what it does due to the limited description that it had. But he knew that once he had reached level 20, he'd understand how rare the item is. The combination function unlocks when a player. Each is level 20. With it, the player can combine a weapon with a magic crystal. Additional options can be assigned as well. There are 7 colors of magic crystals: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, deep blue, and purple. Red is for damage, orange is for strength, yellow increases luck, green increases dexterity, blue increases intelligence, dark blue reduces the damage taken, and purple magic crystal is the rarest of them all. It has the lowest probability of appearing and increases all stats. He felt lucky to have gotten hold of the crystal without any effort. He was goofy enough to realize that his luck stat in real life is pretty high. He had decided to use the crystal once he reached level 20. Looked at his screen and saw that the Bless had 30 minutes left. He wondered if he should open the gold pouch before his buff expires. But before that, he remembered that he needs to start boosting his stats with his Butcher rune. He took out a plastic packet from his bag. This contained 100 mealworms. The Butcher rune increases his stats by 1% every time he kills a target, and that counts for insects as well. The only requirement is that it needs to be a living thing. There aren't any insects in the other world, so he had no choice but to kill monsters. Luckily, that's not the case in the real world. He placed the plastic packet on the ground. He uttered sorry as he lifted his foot to stomp on the insects. The window showed his kill count, which was at 45 over 100, and all stats had increased by 45% due to the effect of Butcher rune. And then an updated window showed up. His kill count is already at 67, and all stats increased by 67% due to the effect of Butcher rune. And the last window showed another updated data. His kill count has reached 100 over 100. All stats have increased by 100% due to the effect of Butcher Rune. And then he opened his status window. He saw that his luck points increased to 45. He's positive to have good results to look forward to. Next, he opened his inventory and pulled out the random gold pouch. This is a rare consumable item that gives a random amount of gold between 1 and 9,999. It is required to be used before the next round. The user should be above beginner rank. It is influenced by luck stat. Ryuman knew that his luck is at the highest at the moment, so he thought that this is the right time. He used the gold random pouch. He stared at it while wondering how much he would receive. Since it's so random, he could have the same stat and get a different amount of gold every time. Depending on how lucky he was in the past, he was able to receive gold in the range of 3,000 to 6,000. Suddenly, Ryuman wore a surprised expression. Notification window showed that he used a random gold pouch. Another window appeared, and it states that he got 9,999 gold. He's happy that he received the max amount. He finds it worth it to receive the blessing. Then he looked at his total gold. It's 16,249 gold, and that should be more than enough to get an epic item. The item that he wants will come out in 2 weeks, so for now, he decided to keep the gold in safety. Back to their apartment. Ryuman announced that he's back. Wani was holding his smartphone when he called out to his older brother. Wani approached Ryuman and excitedly asked about his date. Ryuman seemed to be confused by his question. Wani asked him if he went out on a date with Fling. Ryuman told him to stop talking nonsense, and he asked him what he had for lunch. Wani answered that he ordered black bean noodles. Ryuman responded that he should have gotten something nicer. Wani pouted and asked what was wrong with his choice of food. He said that he wanted to eat it so much. Ryuman silently agreed, recalling that it was just a month ago when they were barely scraping by. On that topic, he remembered his Bitcoin investment that had gone up to $150 million. And just like in his previous attempts, the market would likely crash in 2 weeks, and he'd be sure to dump his account then. A nice car was shown on TV, and he realized that he should get a driver's license. Ryuman took the written driver's license exam. He wondered how many times he had taken the test. He decided to do it half-heartedly and just go. Immediately, he's done. The proctor was confused when he stood up. When the proctor checked his computer, he saw that the student who just left got a 95 in a short amount of time of taking the test. He expected to pass, but it took 4 days for the license to be released. And then, it was finally time. He held his smartphone and declared that it's time to part ways with Bitcoin. He kept snickering while he's on his phone, and Wani asked him if something good happened. He answered that he just sold all his Bitcoin. Wani asked how much it had grown, and Ryuman informed him that it's $300 million. Wani was so shocked with the huge amount that he almost spilled his coffee. He couldn't believe it. He knew that his brother's initial capital for the investment was only $60 million, and he was so surprised that it grew to 300 million won. He couldn't get over his shock. Just a month ago, he wanted to stop his brother, and now it had turned into a significant amount of money. Ryuman told him that he didn't expect it to get that big. In his mind, he only expected 280 million since that was the amount on the previous attempt. Wani asked him if he's going to withdraw everything now, and Ryuman confidently answered him yes. Wani commented that it was a good idea, but he was on for another surprise. His brother declared that it's time to start investing in stocks. Wani seemed like he was about to cry with his brother's decision. He asked him what he's planning when he knew nothing about stocks. Ryuman told him not to worry. To assure his younger brother, he told him that he saw it in a dream. Wani asked him if he saw another premonition saying that it's stocks this time. Ryuman narrated that the dream told him that if he buys it now, it will hit big. Wani had no other option but to support his brother. At the back of his mind, Ryuman doesn't blame Wuni for being nervous, but Ryuman is confident in his knowledge about the future, and then he decided to invest in stocks. He chose the company that is on the 85th place on Kosdaq, and it's worth around 900 million. It's called the Heavenly Demon Consulting Corporation. Heavenly Demon Consulting is a company under Gyeonrock's ownership. Though it hasn't risen to major prominence yet, it will formulate a special system after round 4, and it will experience skyrocketing growth. Ryuman rationalized that there's no reason not to invest knowing that it will hit big. He thought that if he can grab a chunk of shares and gain operational control, he'll be able to greatly benefit by exerting influence as a major shareholder. He decided that first, he'll invest $280 million and obtain 31% of ownership. As he was about to do it, he heard his brother murmuring. Wani was praying so hard for his dream to be right. It was a funny sight. And then he successfully finished the transaction. Next on his list is to buy items. The sun has set. It was already midnight, and yet Ryuman decided to open the shop window. While laying on his bed, he scrolled on the available items. He's aware that he saved up gold today. He chose the equipment tab. He commented how players can buy common skills and items as long as they have gold. He finds it really convenient. Though the available items and skill are all on normal rank, it's not like there's no way to purchase rare and epic items. There is a thing called today's item. It's a function where you can buy a random item that changes daily. Normally, it's hard to get what you want since you don't know what item will be available. But Ryuman knows that he has a different case since he knows the future. And that day, he knew that the epic item that he needs will be out. It's called the skeletal necklace. It has plus 3% INT and plus 1% attack speed per enemy killed maxed at 25% and is effective until end of round. It is being sold for 4,600 gold. Ryuman was a little excited when it dropped, since it's an item that increases intelligence and attack speed, and it's quite cheap for its effects. He decided to use something once he had confirmed that the item he wanted was already available. He opened his inventory and took out the item 50% discount voucher that he received for completing the advancement quest. He planned to purchase the necklace after using the 50% discount voucher. He clicked buy and was surprised to see that he still has 13,949 gold. He sat up as he couldn't believe that he still has quite a lot of gold left. He started planning for his next purchase. Initially, he was going to go for a set of normal equipment with the remaining gold, but he thought that if he saved up 6,000 more gold, he could buy another common skill. And that's better since a common skill beats normal equipment. Now he's motivated to earn 6,000 gold quickly. Fortunately for him, round 3 has a lot of monsters. And so, time passed and it's already March 1st, 2023. The player's body glowed in yellow as their soul was now being transported. The inevitable day came.